All right, President Trump said yesterday that whatever is released from the Mueller report is completely up to the new Attorney General William Barr to be released. But no matter what Trump says, and ever since this investigation began, he's been accused of interfering with the Russia probe. Even former acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe said the FBI opened an obstruction of justice case against the president. But I wanted to focus something specifically on in your book, an excerpt here from that book. You talk about that interview that's been played on TV so many times with Lester Holt. Trump said in that interview, and a lot of people remember this, that he supported a full investigation into the Russian election interference. And this is your quote here. In other words, in confusing fashion, Trump was saying that rather than trying to end the FBI's Russia investigation, he recognized that by firing Comey, he may have prolonged it. Quote, the media largely ignored those statements, nor in all the endless stories about the Russia investigation did the media point out that Trump never asked anyone to stop the investigation. It was a point that Comey, Rosenstein, and Sessions all confirmed. Why do you think that aspect of Donald Trump's interview with Lester Holt is often glossed over?
Well, not only often, but actually by McCabe himself. McCabe cited in his book as the main reason why he opened a counterintelligence investigation of Trump, Trump's statement to Lester Holt, in which he said, I fired Comey and I thought about the Russia thing. But then he went on to say what you just quoted. He went on to say, I recognize that by firing him, I actually am probably prolonging the investigation. And that material, which was only on the online version, was ignored not only by the media, but by McCabe. And so McCabe is covering up dishonestly what totally contradicts his rationale for opening the investigation. It is unbelievable that anybody in the FBI or anybody in law enforcement would so dishonestly start an investigation, cover up the real facts, what Trump actually said. And in any case, regardless, none of that is a basis for opening a criminal investigation.
You get the every time you hear Andrew McCabe talk, Ron, you get the feeling that he just simply could not wrap his head around the idea that Donald Trump could win the presidency.
Yeah, and it's the same with Comey. Comey claimed that he thinks that Russia has something on Trump. And when Jake Tapper asked him why he says that, Comey said, well, he keeps saying nice things about Putin, and he keeps insisting that he's innocent. Can you imagine if a juror in a murder trial said, well, I voted to convict because he kept saying he's innocent? And of course, Comey ignored the fact that Trump has actually taken at least 12 actions against Putin, against Russia, regardless of what he says about him. And that, of course, is what matters.
Right. And anytime, Ron, you know this, anytime a U.S. head of state says anything negative about Vladimir Putin, his approval ratings go up in Russia.
It's just so scary that these two people were at the top of the FBI. And it's shocking that they would be so transparently dishonest.
Yeah.
J. Edgar Hoover engaged a lot of abuses, which I've gone into in my FBI books, but he would not ever allow such dishonesty when we're reporting on a case. He would fire anybody like that immediately.
Yeah, it clearly makes the case there needs to be more turnover at the top of the FBI. It's not, doesn't seem like a job that you're looking at J. Edgar Hoover too, tenure in that position doesn't necessarily yield good things for this country. What do you expect once this Mueller probe is finally released?
When I interviewed Trump for the book, The Trump White House, he asked me what I think of Mueller because he knows that I've known him for a long time. I've interviewed him several times. And I said he's a man of integrity, and he turned around the FBI to make it more prevention oriented. And I think that, therefore, he will come up with an honest report which says Trump had nothing to do with anything involving any criminal activity, nothing to do with collusion, nothing to do with any other claims, obstruction of justice. Certainly, all these idiots got in the way of his investigation, Manafort and Roger Stone, but those are all unrelated to anything that Trump did. And actually, in my book, The Trump White House, I cite something that also is ignored, which is when Manafort was chairman of the campaign, Papadopoulos, this low-level aide, came up with a proposal to go meet with Putin. And what did Manafort say? In emails released to congressional committees, he said, no, we're not going to do this. Not only we're not going to do this, we have to make sure Trump doesn't do this. His deputy Gates said the same thing. And Manafort assigned another aide to make sure that nobody in the campaign responds to any such request. So again, how much do you need to know about
yeah, Manafort right now is paying for his past sins. Speaking of Roger Stone, as we wrap up here, he's one of these targets for Mueller. He's, of course, back in court today. What do you think is going to be the end result of Stone's case?
I think that he will be put in jail by the judge because you simply cannot put up with something like this, which suggests violence against the judge. I think just like Manafort, who also engaged in witness tampering when he was in jail, these guys are just unbelievable, and I think he's going to go to jail.
Well, we'll see what happens. Ron Kessler, great to see you.
Thank you, John.
That'll do it for this edition of Newsmax Now in Depth. You can catch Newsmax Now every weeknight right here on Newsmax TV at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching.